What do you want to do?
I'm in the queue one.
There you go. You got it. So we'll bring Dave out in a second. We should probably really quickly, we need to do the intro to the show, so we'll do it out of order. But I do want to, once again, Space Mike, bring his audio back up for me.
What's up, guys?
You actually, that was hard, man. And you did a fantastic job. I just wanted you to know that. Because what the world couldn't see, but we could see because we have this preview screen in front of us with all the different cameras and feeds. What the world couldn't see is Dutta went into break. And it went to black.
As soon
Space
as
Mike
knew
waited
he was
2
off,
beats, and then he went like the weight of the world was just lifted off of his shoulders. And it sounds terrible. I busted out laughing.
We know that.
I'm like, I know it's hard. It's so flippin' hard. Oh, it is. And figuring out that timing and the cadence and what you're gonna say and what's gonna get overlaid, it is not as easy as it looks.
And Mike doesn't have the advantage of seeing what I've got queued up to.
Right, he has no idea
He has
what's
no
coming
feedback
up.
whatsoever. He has what's on your screen.
You know, we should. So we will actually. What we'll do is we'll.
Sorry, say it again.
All of the words, but one at a time.
That's the thing too. Like once you mess up once, like once you stutter over one word, like it just keeps going the whole way. Just,
What we'll do is for Space Mike when we get. The next equipment purchase I think is going to be one of the talk show units for Skype two-way communications. What we'll do for Space Mike is we'll set him up on that and we'll route the multi-view back to him so that in his screen he actually sees what we see out here, which is what's on program, what's on preview, and all the different source selections. So he'll have a really good idea as to what's going on. We just don't have the capability of routing that today.
Somebody in the chat room says Space Mike talks for tomorrow, not because it's easy, but because it is hard.
It is super hard. All right. Let's do our intros really quick. Everyone watching After Dark is like, yeah, blah 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 blah, boring. We want to see Dave. What? Oh, I know this was here for the thing.
It doesn't matter. You had a table up front, so you had a set change, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and this was here the entire comment section.
Okay.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
All right, so we'll do, oh, crap, we're going to need Space Mike for these coming ups, actually. Actually, I'm sorry, Space Mike, we're going to have you do, because you did the space news, you're going to have to do 2 coming ups, and then I'll toss to the Dave part.
Okay.
All right, so we'll have you...
Which 2?
Here's what we'll do. You'll say, coming up, Delta II launches SMAP. Sounds dirty.
Yeah, that's why I kept saying SMAP.
Yeah, launches SMAP. SMAP.
Oh, SMAP.
Have you gotten your SMAP this year?
Spaceport America is up for sale. And then
Ben takes over.
Then I'll take it from there. And Dutta, I think we'll leave him in the background. So we'll go him full screen. Actually, it doesn't matter. You just leave him in the background because I'm gonna do covering shots for the whole thing. Yep. All right. So you got that Space Mic. You're gonna say coming up. You can be super dramatic and over the top too. It's allowed in this segment. So coming up, Delta II launches SMAP. Spaceport America is up for sale. And then what Dutta?
Why don't we have Carrie Ann do Spaceport America is up for sale?
All right, that works. Yeah. So you're going to say Delta II launches SMAP. She's going to say Spaceport America is up for sale. And I'll say, and a live interview with Dave Masten of Masten Space Systems.
Except that I can't hear him. Hold on.
I'll do this. Oh yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Oh,
the entire internet is seeing what it takes to go into a cold open. They're all like, oh, we don't care. Just bring Dave back.
Hi.
Hi.
Feedback.
Because everybody loves Dave.
Duh.
Don't we, though? He's like, wow, we're bringing you both on. It'd be great.
Oh, but I'm just the cute girlfriend.
Oh my gosh, flip that cord behind your back.
Yeah.
It makes me turn red. Shades of Masten.
Shadesofmaston.org.
All right.
Here?
Yes.
Good? All right.
Yes.
Here we go. This is take 1 of 1. Take it, Space Mike.
Coming up, Delta II launches SMAP.
Spaceport America is up for sale.
And we have a live interview with Dave Masten of Masten Space Systems. Stay tuned. Tomorrow begins right now. Nailed it. That was awesome.
Carrie Ann's got this whole deer in the headlights. Like, what? Where?
I know. I love.
Where
What was
am
that
I?
little? What was that little like? Delta 2. I don't know what you. Delta 2.
Dave after dark.
Dude, all right. Space Mike, you're free to hang on if you want, but we're done with you for the show, so you can leave if you want. Hang on, listen to Dave, but we're going to kill your audio at this point, and bring Dave back on the scene.
All right, thanks,
Cool.
guys.
Thank you, as always, for all your help. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And thank you for doing the space news last minute like that. I really appreciate it. All right. We're going to do, we don't need to do a set change, but I think, let's bring Dr. Masten. Admiral Masten?
Oh, good gods.
Captain Masten? Is he an admiral yet, Captain?
Darth Masten?
Darth Masten?
Darth Masten. I'll go with Darth Masten. Back out. So I contacted the company that makes these, and they were like, "You never got the clips?" I'm like, "No, we never got the clips." So they're sending me clips.
Okay. That's awesome.
There's that. There's that. Did you want to stay on the set? How do you want to do this?
It doesn't matter to me.
Why don't you kind of? Let's have Dave sit here, and then why don't you grab 2 stools? Here, we'll grab 2 stools, and the girls can sit behind their men. That sounds terrible.
You never fixed the audio issue, did you?
Nope. But I can do that really quick. I think I still have it wired up.
Okay.
Actually, what we should probably do, realistically, we should have the ladies sit up front, and then we're taller than they are, so we'll sit behind them.
So shouldn't the ladies
But,
sit behind?
But Carrie Ann,
Did you shut off your iPad and stuff? Yeah. So yeah, you got reported as
Because I
being
knew
no
that-
longer.
give Dave your microphone, and then I'm going to move 3 is going to be the KSM 44 sitting right over here, and I think I still have. Ooh, I thought I still had it. Maybe I don't. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, but the girls are going to be up front. I'm going to need another microphone cable thingy. Oh, it's not in there. Can you grab that microphone in the corner? Bring it out there, and I'm going to grab a... Sorry, Internet. This will just take a second. I'm going into the bowels of the studio. My closet. Whatever.
Oh, I hadn't thought that.
Oh, you don't have to. I was gonna say you don't have to go down your shirt. We don't actually care in After Dark. You can just run it right over if you want.
I care.
Yay, 50-foot cord.
To go 2 feet.
Boop, boop, boop. All right, and that requires phantom power. So select 3 and phantom power. Awesome. See if you have audio on it.
Cosmic white background on the.
Cosmic white background.
That's somebody's comment. I'm reading their comments already.
The original Space Mike? That's funny.
And let's go. Yeah. You can dump the. Yeah.
Aw, cute family portrait.
Gag. I'm on the wrong side. This is weird. I don't like it. And apparently Tiff didn't get the memo. We're supposed to be wearing black t-shirts today.
Yeah.
I have an Occupy
Are you wearing
Mars
your?
one.
Oh, do you guys fight about that? You should. I want to hear stories about you guys fighting about Mars.
We both have Occupy Mars t-shirts.
Yeah.
I think I
because-
gave them to you, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what does the internet want to know from Dave? I'm spinning in my chair. This is why we don't have these chairs anymore.
Ben, Dave is out of frame. I think I'm in frame now. I'm just hiding behind my better half.
Yes, I am a rebel. It's my job description.
So,
It's like the tomorrow cockpit.
wait, we have to. All right, ready. Okay, now, so we're bouncing a little bit. We're bouncing now. Everyone left?
Here, let me help you. Everybody go this way.
Oh, yeah, this way. No, this way. Okay.
The hell just happened?
Hi, Flux.
Oh my God.
Here, I'll make it better for you.
Oh, the
better.
ship. All right, so where should we start? What do you guys do for fun? You normally go skiing now, right?
Skiing.
You're not going to be able to go skiing on Mars, are you?
Hiking. I mean,
It's ski Olympus Mons. It
Is
has
there snow? There's snow, I suppose.
Dr. Peach and I are going to ski it.
Dr.
Natasha.
The bear?
no, a friend of ours.
A real person.
A real
A
person.
real person.
I would actually like to see the bear
The bears,
In
the
skis.
bears are in that.
in skis down Mount Olympus.
Bernie wants to snowboard.
All right?
Snowboard, that's fine. So if Mars One had any money and they asked you for help, could you get them started?
What do you think of? Let's
We'll
back
just
up.
do the whole thing for him if
What
they
do
actually get any money.
What do you think
Yeah.
of Mars One? Is it real? Do you think they'll actually make it to Mars?
I don't think they will, but I think it's just a matter of they don't have the money. And I don't think the way they're going about it, they're going to raise the money. But
Let's say they do. You think they get the money? Can they make it to Mars? I mean, 'cause you look at the Olympics, right? The Olympics, from just a purely televised standpoint, it's a lot of money, and this would be one of the most watched things on television ever.
yeah, the first human on Mars is going to be huge.
I mean, the whole planet will unite and watch this. So,
Well, I mean, you can go back and look at the Nielsen ratings that were done for the TV on when Buzz and Neil set foot on the moon, and that was substantial. And there was I think there was like 1/10 of the total TVs in the world at the time.
right.
Yeah,
But
the
even
numbers were incredible.
but yeah, even I mean, if you had access to a TV, you probably watched it.
Yeah.
So that will likely be similar at this point. I think we're a slightly different society now, so not the same, but similar.
Well, yeah, everybody will be watching it on their phone instead of looking for some big tube thing.
But it doesn't matter how you do it. So all right. So that goes to there's a market there. So let's just say they can convince advertisers that this is a thing that they should put their money behind. Will they be able to actually do it?
If they can raise that kind of money,
What kind of money do you think they have to raise?
Be smart about it. Well, here's where we get into that. Who's doing it? Who do they get to do it? I will note that some of the most successful and some of the biggest failures in the space launch industry have done some really different things. SpaceX, instead of going out and looking for a lot of existing talent, I mean, they had a core group where there was existing talent, but for the most part, they went and they looked for people who did not have any of the NASA baggage with them. It's the average age at SpaceX is very young compared to every place else.
Yeah.
But it's similar to what happened during Apollo.
But, well, let me continue on here. Look at another space launch company that was a decade earlier, Kistler, who they went out and got some of the best and brightest from NASA, spent over $500 billion and went bankrupt.
million.
Yeah.
Billion.
So half a
sorry,
tri-
500, half a million, half a billion.
Half a billion. Okay.
Half a billion,
I'm like,
yeah.
they spent $500 billion because I'll
500
take
million.
I'll take just their like rounding errors at that point.
And that was a decade earlier. So
But
throw
there-
on all the the.
But there's nothing
inflation and everything.
all right, but look at Armadillo Aerospace. They didn't really go bankrupt, but they're hibernating right now, and that wasn't a bunch of old NASA guys, right?
Well, that's you keep piling in. Armadillo. We can look at them and say, well, did they maybe make some mistakes in some different direction, like maybe didn't put enough money in, period, or didn't do. Maybe they had enough money, but they just didn't have the right. I don't know,
What about BO? Sorry, that's Blue Origin. So you mentioned not enough money. So that's Carmack, or not Carmack. That's Armadillo. It's Bezos, Jeff Bezos from Amazon. So Jeff is
Blue
a
Origin.
billionaire. Blue Origin, they're building
Lots
engines.
of money. My concern with them is that he's going the Kissel route, and that he went and tried hiring the best and brightest from existing industry. They have all their baggage with them.
But so to be
But
clear,
now he's
it's not.
also been through a few rounds of hiring and firing. So there's some question about who knows how effective he really. The other thing, he never talks about anything. So
Yeah, that's true. It's really annoying, actually. But
I
it's
don't think your mic is on. Oh. Wait, it should be on the top.
Green.
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 We didn't hear a word of what you just said.
No,
Oh,
it's not
good.
true because you're facing him and he's got his mic on.
By the way, is
We were talking about it was
Dada,
mic-
is
it
mic
being
3
low.
working? Yeah. Okay, great. So
Not that it
we're
matters.
talking about that baggage. It's not from NASA necessarily. It's from the aerospace industry, right? Because you get locked into this. This is the way we do it. And
Well, yeah, and actually, it may be the fact that doing NRO launches or Air Force, DoD launches may actually have more baggage than even NASA does. So yeah, and consider that most of what's been going on is government funded anyway. So there's all of that bureaucracy comes down with that, and yeah.
the chat room any good questions from the chat room?
Yeah, but they're like way up here, so I had to keep going.
Go ahead.
Just thoughts on Hyperloop. I don't know if you care. What's with the X's? How and when
What's
did
with
that
the
start?
X's?
And how often does Masten stuff fly?
What was with the X's? I don't even recall what is with the X's, other than we started off with experimental, and a bunch of letters and numbers, and
Sure.
X's are
so
cool.
that became the X, and it was sort of also a bit of a joke about Space X.
Of course.
And other companies, X planes, and other companies, and with X's in their names, and that's, and then it became tradition.
And you still found a way to get the ARC. We don't have it up in your M. All the aerospace
Yes,
companies
everybody
have to have
the
their.
ARC.
Yep.
Yeah.
See it in the X and the SpaceX. See it in the M and the map, and it looks good. But I'm still like,
Everybody has
someone be more creative. That or like a rocket. Not that we were any better for the first 5 years.
we started off with a rocket too, so.
Yeah. Wait. Did you have the rocket and the ARC?
So we had the M made a rocket.
Oh.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. But then it got
Yeah.
confusing because Morpheus started doing something similar.
Similar, yes.
And I would look at the two logos and it would take my brain a second to figure out who was who, which, by the way, kind of douchey of them to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Odds on favorite, in Dave's opinion, for winning GLXP.
See over under.
I'm not sure, but and part of my problem is I may be a little. I know a lot more about two of the teams than I do any of the other teams.
So and then when you know more about them, you don't put them in favor generally, right? Because you're like, well, now I know all their issues, so there's no way they're going to work.
Right.
Well, I know what their pluses and minuses are, and by the way, those two teams are Moon Express and Astrobotic. We did some work through Flight Opportunities NASA with Astrobotic. Where basically we helped Astrobotic, do their testing of some of their software and navigation systems. And then Moon Express, I happen to know a lot of the people at Moon Express for a long time, so I hear what's going on with that.
Actually, let me modify the question. Is anyone going to win GLXP before the contest expires?
I hope
Again.
so. I hope
in
so.
your opinion, do you think?
I hope so. I have no idea. I don't know for sure. And the big question may be, will Google and the X Prize Foundation extend the prize if, for example, SpaceX knocks the launch manifest back another year?
Right.
Again.
Right. Yeah, stuff out of the contestants' control for the most part. That would make sense.
And so it can draw huge waterfall charts based on all that.
Yeah.
Talking about some.
But these teams don't have to use SpaceX. They can use an Atlas or a Delta or a.
Yeah, all right. No, they can't.
Sure, but particularly if you've already paid for a ride, why pay for another one?
I wonder if Firefly or the other one, I can't remember. We brought them on. Rocket
Labs,
thank you. Has enough upmass to be able to get them to the moon.
No.
All right, even the smallest one.
So I'm not familiar with. The smallest one's a different team. I know Moon Express and Astrobotic. No way.
They're
Just too
bigger.
large. They're just too large. Yeah.
3D printing engines.
3D printing engines. We hope to do some soon. We actually are testing a 3D printed engine right now.
Direct laser metal sintering.
Yes. Direct metal. Yeah, that one.
DLMS. I say that a lot. Direct laser metal sintering. How big is the engine?
So actually, the engine we're testing right now is really a large igniter or a small RCS motor is what we're testing right now.
Reaction control.
Yeah, reaction control system.
So what's the advantage of 3D printing a motor?
The advantage. There are a number of advantages of 3D printing a motor. Most of them involving cost.
I should use the right term.
Assembly.
It would be an engine, not a motor, right? You're 3D printing engines.
Yes,
Because
technically. it would be
in
an
space,
engine.
the motor would be more like a solid motor, right? So,
Traditionally, a motor refers to a solid, and an
so
engine
just
refers to a liquid.
using terms people understand. So you're 3D printing an engine. So the advantage is it's the same every time, star.
So you do have greater control over certain manufacturing things. There's a huge cost benefit.
Is there? Because DLMS is expensive.
When you consider that an RL10 is made by a bunch of older women, painstakingly hand bending several hundred tubes to make the chamber.
I feel
nozzle
like it sounds like a
of an
World War
RL10.
II movie. Like
It is. They have not been able to automate that process at all. The RL10 is handcrafted.
Wait. Have they not been able to automate it, or have they chosen not to automate it yet? Have they not invested in automation?
To the best of my knowledge, they have not been able to find an automation process that made economic sense. How about that way?
All right.
And
But an RL10
there is some pressure coming down on the Rocketdyne folks.
But an RL10 is not a small engine.
20,000 pounds.
Right, but you're not printing a 20,000 pound engine.
Why not?
Are you?
Our hope is to actually be doing most of our 50,000 pound engine that we're doing for XS1 is to be printed.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. How physically large is that going to be?
We're going to have to steer away a little bit from this.
Could you go
into the ITAR land? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say ITAR.
Got it. And the aerospace industry does that all the time too. That annoys me. Where they're like, I don't feel like answering that, so ITAR. All right, fair enough.
How about proprietary? How about
no,
that?
I'll buy that. Actually, we could actually start legitimately be getting into a little bit of ITAR at this point, so we'll stay clear. But yeah, proprietary, I'll totally buy. When? Do you have a rough idea? Because the question I like to ask everyone is how much and when, because
Well,
you can talk about stuff all day long, but unless you can produce
like
it.
I say, we're working on the smaller version right now.
So 2 years out?
So yeah, we'll call it 2 years out. Actually, it has to be less than 2 years, but
More questions?
I think we're going to be seeing a lot more soonish.
Soonish. I like that. I like the soonish.
Question came in and says, what's the status of the moon lander project that Dave had a few months ago with NASA, landing a big container or something with Masten's technology?
The catalyst stuff.
You know what I'm saying? That literally is all of the information I have on that one.
Wait a minute, say that again?
What's the status of the moon lander project that Dave had a few months ago with NASA, landing a big container or something with Masten's
Oh,
technology?
lunar catalyst. And that big container was a Centaur
There
that
you
we
go.
were talking about earlier.
I kept referring to it as the NASA project.
Yeah.
Good job, Ben.
Thanks.
Someone wants to know, what food will you give your astronauts on the way to Mars?
They don't get food. Oh, Soylent. Soylent.
Yes.
Mountain House dehydrated meals.
I was going to say Mountain House is, we're
Macaroni
working
and
on
cheese.
being able to eat Mountain
So
House for
good.
long periods of time. That's
I don't
the
know.
latest way to
I
go.
don't know Mountain
So
House.
Mountain
What is
House,
it?
It's backpacking food.
Mountain House is a brand of freeze-dried food that is used by a lot of backpackers.
So it's very small, lightweight, right? Perfect for
Well,
space.
it's
then?
dehydrated, so
Yep.
it's freeze-dried food. So there's no water. It becomes really light to carry.
Yep.
And when you're backpacking, you get water everywhere you go. So
Yeah.
Is it any good?
I will eat the macaroni and cheese when we're not in the backcountry. If that
There's
works.
actually
That
there's actually some
isn't
things that are pretty
exactly a. It's not like
So yeah, some people
Macaroni and
really
cheese.
like it. That's the answer.
It's definitely edible. It is definitely
is it
edible.
non-meat only, or would you be able to bring? Because that's one of the.
Oh no, there's like a meat lasagna that we love. There's a
'Cause the
there's
dirty little
actually the chicken a la king that I like a lot.
One of the little secrets of the Martian settlers that are the first ones there, they're going to have to be vegetarians at first.
No, they don't.
All right. So what? Okay. Are we counting fish?
Well,
What-
maybe
what do you-
the
what do you-
settlers. Maybe the settlers.
The
will.
first, we're talking just the first
The,
group.
the explorers. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to take them with me.
Yeah, but if you're only there for, let's say, 2 years or whatever the time frame is, you can allot for that. If you're there for the rest of your life, no, you can't,
Yeah,
and you're not
that's
bringing
true.
cows with you. I'd say that, but someone might figure out how to do it.
by the time we actually get around to settling Mars, maybe we'll be manufacturing meat.
If we chose to go right now, if we as a society said, you know what, this is of human importance worldwide, how long would it take us to get to Mars? Humans, permanent settlement. An asteroid is bearing down on the
You're
planet.
saying that governments actually start taking it seriously?
Yes, there's a asteroid coming towards the planet. Humanity will be extinct unless we settle Mars. That is, all the scientists have said we have to settle Mars. They, for whatever reason, did not argue and all agreed.
Then we'll probably all die.
Really?
I think so, because if you get the governments to all agree and get serious about it, I'm afraid that might actually be worse than the current case of, our government really doesn't care about going anywhere in space, and that's a lot of the problem. But I think if all the governments got together and agreed that it was important,
And said we care a lot.
and we care a lot, that might actually be worse,
Why?
because it would be a centrally planned communist activity.
Oh.
I mean, it's the bureaucracy just becomes
All right,
five times
what if
worse.
just our government decides that this is a national priority? Yeah, Cold War 2.0.
We'll make it. It'll be extremely expensive, and
10
everybody
years?
left is.
Yeah, money's
Well,
no
we can
option.
do
You
it.
can waste,
Money-
you can waste anything but
You can waste
time.
anything but time. We might just pull it off. We might make it.
10 years?
I would hope for 20, but we might be able to do it in 10.
All right, cool. Next question.
Will other countries, in your opinion, obviously, China, India, etc., beat the U.S. with their investments in human space missions?
Is China going to beat the U.S.? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you don't think so?
And why?
China's duplicating everything wrong about both the Russian Space Agency and and NASA.
All right, well, what about something like ESA?
Or India?
Or JAXA? Or India?
Yeah.
India.
All of those have similar problems. I mean, there's some things they can do, and they can probably do it okay, but
What is the problem? Is it the failure is not an option, so you have to make octuple redundant systems that weigh tons?
Yes.
And you're not allowed to ever fail ever?
So you've got a number of problems. I mean, first of all, there's just bureaucracy, which just slows down everything, weighs down everything. And there's the failure is not an option bit, and everything's got to be perfectly safe. And we couldn't put a human on board without. China doesn't have that problem, but they do have the problem of.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Mission failure is still a problem. So yeah, they're going to spend lots of money, and it's going to, and you know, I'm not sure that the Chinese government has that much appetite.
All right.
Is hiring from NASA or other worse because of baggage or because of experience?
Well, that's the same thing, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's what we're really talking about. When we say baggage, we mean it's because they've got this experience, they have this here's how it's done mentality, and how it's done is the way NASA traditionally does stuff. And by the way, it's different between NASA centers.
So someone at JPL might be much more open-minded to doing different things than, say, someone at KSC?
They'll have different what they're open-minded about, and what they're closed-minded about will just be different. Yeah,
it's
I
not-
mean,
I mean, you're using
JPL will
broad-
still talk about, a JPLer may not care about your self-loading payload, your humans, as much, and may allow them to take some more risks, but somehow they just won't let the software code go without having that additional set of reviews that JPL insists on, kind of thing. That might be the kind of
You're
thing.
using broad strokes, though. I mean, not everyone at NASA or the aerospace industry thinks like that. There are certain people that just are all over and aren't open to anything.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I don't mean to. I'm, these very general, very,
Just
these are
being
things
clear.
to be,
Yeah.
things to pay attention to as
There
we're
are some very
doing
open-minded
things.
people at NASA.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's not like everyone's like that, but you have to. There's just a red flag. You go, okay, and then it's
You have to
figure
watch
it
out
out
for
during
that.
you figure it out during the interview process, and it's a personality trait, kind of, right? I don't know how else to describe that.
Yeah, personality, but it's and sometimes you just bring them on and you just watch for that kind of bias. Because sometimes that's all it is.
Whack! No, do not do that.
Sometimes all it is a little bias, and sometimes whack. No, don't do that.
Just
is
fly
all
it.
needs.
Just fly it.
Well, we go find out.
It could crash. Then it could crash.
One more thing to know. What's with NASA's stance on SEP for human missions?
SEP.
I don't know. They literally all they wrote was SEP, so I have no idea. Wouldn't an NTR make more sense? So
SCP,
yes, as much as a
NTR,
QSP would.
Nuclear thermal rocket, maybe?
So we have
Sure.
reminder, we actually have a no acronym policy on the show. We take great strides to, if we use an acronym, actually say what the acronym
Yeah,
is.
that
I
question
even did
came
that
in,
with
like,
you.
14 minutes ago, so I have no idea if they even are still listening or not.
All right, move on.
You mentioned hydrogen mining. I assume you will focus on lunar polar targets?
Oh, SCP, solar electric propulsion. I have no particular care about what type of propulsion. Next, going to lunar. I would be focusing on poles. Yes.
Do you think you blah, blah, blah. Do you think you can compete against SpaceX when they land a Falcon 9 on land?
But you don't do that,
You
Stage.
know,
Yeah.
we've been landing stuff on land for 5 years now. Why can't we compete?
I would look-
We've been landing stuff on land before Elon thought it was cool. There,
That's a
hipster
t-shirt.
cred.
Thank you. That's
You
a
need the
t-shirt.
glasses. You need the glasses.
That's totally a
but
t-shirt.
but you're different companies. You don't do the same thing.
Yeah, and we don't do the same thing. So I don't know. I mean, the competition,
I mean, there's a little crossover, but you
Well, both of us want to go to Mars. I know Elon wants to retire there. Does he necessarily have to be first there? I don't know.
No.
But actually, you could work together. I have to stop.
There's
talking
lots
about
of
it.
opportunity for
Yeah.
collaboration.
I just have to shut my mouth, yeah.
Who
Mhm.
knows?
Yep.
We're not going to go there.
Landing on land, do you think governments will allow such landings anywhere but a desert?
Anywhere but a desert.
I think they mean
so. The
anywhere but-
landing part isn't the problem. It's the flight over land that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
The FAA is totally open to it because the FAA has a set of regulations that are fairly easy to do. Fairly easy. it still takes several people multiple years to get a license, but you can make it work. You can make it happen. We're working with our XS1 program. That's a booster, and our preferred launch spot is Mojave. So.
The best way this was described to me is a rocket leaving the launch pad is a rocket. As soon as it turns around and comes back to land, it's now a missile. And so they just want to make sure that people are safe.
Yeah. That is terrible.
That's hilarious. Citizen 23. That's good stuff. And if that's Tony, then you're going to hear all about that on Monday.
You have to repeat it at least for the people watching.
Citizen 23 said, if you landed on land, I suppose you would call it terrible.
Bull. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you think aerospikes are a viable option for launching heavy payloads?
Do I think aerospikes?
Mm-hmm. An aerospike engine.
So an aerospike engine, just for those who, I don't know, does anybody in the audience not understand what an aerospike is?
We're all over the board. So I'll just call it an inverted rocket engine. I don't know how else to call it.
Yeah, it's a special engine.
Inside out.
An inside-out rocket engine.
Look up X-33 and linear aerospike in Google. You'll see what it is.
So, all right, really quickly.
And it's not going to work. So it turns out right now the trades for an aerospike engine favor a traditional rocket engine, not an aerospike. And I've been over this and over this and over this. And the problem with the aerospike is the thrust to weight ratio is down closer to a jet engine than a rocket engine. Thrust to weight ratios for the Merlin 1D is over 150. For an RL-10, which was designed back in the 60s, is 50 something. Jet engines are less than 1. And I think for aerospikes, the current state of the art is probably around 20.
So I guess the better way to describe it, not from a technical standpoint, is you've got the nozzle of the engine, and as you ascend in the atmosphere, you need to basically change the shape of the nozzle to improve its efficiency. And the way we do that today is we stage, right? We separate, and now you've got a much bigger, broader nozzle. With an aerospike engine, in theory, you're basically using, I forget, it's like atmosphere, isn't it? I mean, you're creating this...
Atmosphere creates the bell on the outside.
But as you ascend, because the atmosphere is changing as you ascend, it's changing its characteristics with you. And so in theory, on paper, you should be always optimized going up.
And it actually works out pretty well that you are pretty close to optimal the entire way with an aerospike.
By the way, you taught me that in your lab up in Mojave. Yeah, because I was asking about the shape of the bell, and I'm like, why? And you're like, in typical engineer fashion, he's like, whiteboard? And just drew it out.
You need a whiteboard.
Yeah, it's close. It's
It's white, but I wouldn't want to draw on it. It's probably won't work very well.
Look at that.
Don't break my set.
So I don't think aerospikes are going to happen anytime soon.
All right. About how many people work for Masten Space Systems?
I think we're up to 20 now.
Nice.
Remember, he's the CTO.
I'm the CTO, not the CEO.
He likes playing with the rockets. He doesn't like doing the paperwork
things,
stuff.
About how many people you work with?
Yeah.
Come on. There wasn't and name all of them. It was just about
What are their birthdays, Dave? What are their birthdays?
I actually could probably name
heavens.
all of them. It's the remembering exactly how many there are that I
give
have
or
difficulty
take.
with. It's about 20.
All right. What do you think of Ariane 6?
I don't know enough about it to have an opinion.
It's one bigger than 5.
There you go.
Yeah.
Your opinion on 3D printing in space, DSI and PRI.
Deep Space Industries and Planetary Resources.
Sure.
DSI is Deep Space Industries and PR is Planetary Resources Incorporated, I believe.
Oh, okay. That's good. What do they have to do with 3D printing in space?
I thought they were just mining. I didn't know they were necessarily 3D
I don't know,
printing.
but that's what those things mean to me, is DSI and Deep
I would
Space
imagine
Industries.
so.
So 3D printing in space. I mean, 3D printing is an awesome technology. It's continuing to be worked on, and it's going to be even more awesome as we continue on. Doing it in space makes sense.
Is it going to be?
Just so we understand, just so everybody knows, I don't know that everybody does necessarily know. Most large ocean-going ships have machine shops on them to make parts for themselves.
That makes sense.
You're going to have to do that in space. If we're colonizing Mars,
we're probably going
to.
to want to do that in space. And if you can do most of your parts with additive manufacturing, that just made your machine shop a lot lighter, a lot easier to lift out of the off the Earth's surface and into space. So yeah. But at the same time, on the other hand, there's some issues they're working on and tackling. I think they're getting it right on the ISS right now. So yeah, we'll see a lot more of that. 4 words, please.
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
No. You're totally fine.
Name all of them on my tar.
What do you think
Good
of
one,
the
Destructor.
UK reaction engine Sabre technology?
Let's not have me talk about what other companies are doing.
Perfect. Good. So
ITAR.
We'll jump over. We'll jump over, right? Copenhagen suborbitals.
Yeah,
Skyron.
actually, that's a good point. Let's keep it focused on Masten Space Systems as opposed to the chat rooms diverging
Again,
into like
that was
SpaceX and
like
Ariane
10
Space.
minutes ago.
Yeah. So let's keep it focused on Masten Space Systems and then your just general view of space.
Repeating for visibility, has the XS1 design evolved any further since last time? Does it still have the fins? It is seriously evolved. It's not recognizable from the first one.
Well, you brought a 3D printed model though, didn't you? Oh no, you brought. No, you didn't. You brought.
A render. Last time it was a render.
Yeah, last time was just a render.
Thanks for not showing up with a render this time, Dave.
Sorry. We've actually been producing 3D printed models of every version of XS1.
Well, we'd love to see one.
However, this last version we're actually right in the middle of doing a version, going from one version to another.
1.1.
If there were one.
Yeah, it's more like 2.6 now, but
There's no sports ball.
yeah, just so that everybody knows, we're on version 2.6. Should be released in the next week. Which basically goes out to all of our design teams and stuff, and they'll start figuring out how to do all their stuff over again. It's just another iteration, part of the design
Start from
process.
scratch.
So what sports ball team would Masten be if there was one? Answer this correctly or I will hurt you.
What sports ball team?
I would say
Ohio
what
State.
sport?
Duh.
I was saying you should take the sports ball part out and be like, are all skiers or hikers?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say Ohio State because underrated, unheard of at the beginning of the season, and come to dominate by the end.
Not really underrated. Not heard of it.
That's awesome.
Wow. And
I don't
was
know. I'm
saying-
not really taking that seriously. Sorry.
I know.
Does Masten think that manned missions to Venus are feasible or worthwhile?
Oh, the Venus cloud thing, right?
I think the Venus cloud thing is actually really interesting.
Describe the Venus cloud thing
so
for people who don't know.
okay,
Apparently.
so
Look
Venus
at you.
on the surface, the atmosphere is 900 and 900, roughly 900 psi, roughly 900 degrees Fahrenheit.
Not a pleasant place to live.
Not a place you want to be. However,
Slightly crushy.
if you go up to where the pressure in the atmosphere is about that of Earth's, I understand it's actually a really nice place to be.
So you just have to skip in the clouds.
So you just have to stay in the clouds at
Right.
that level somehow. Well, it's easy. We know how to
Airship.
make airships,
Right.
and you basically just float at that level. And you can go up and down a little bit. There's tons of volatiles in the atmosphere, so you basically mine the atmosphere for everything you need, from nitrogen and phosphorus and sulfur, and everything you need is there. And so you could just,
Food?
it's best thing, only more awesome.
Keep that in mind. I'm very quiet. And
Dave's
gracious.
partner is so quiet and gracious. Actually, we're both introverts. I just become a little more extroverted with a camera in front of me.
It's awesome. It's awesome to see him come out because he's like, The red light turns on. He's like, space is amazing. Let me tell you how amazing it is.
Flux wants to know who's going to be the Lando Calrissian of Venus.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, I got a
Wasn't
question
a
for you.
swagger for that.
We
kind
go
of thing,
back.
though.
We go back to the. You know, I know what I'm going to do. I'm an explorer. That means I'm going to go out. I'm going to look at the place. I'm going to draw maps. I'm going to take data. I'm going to come back. I'm going to sell that to the pioneers, and I'm going to retire in my old home.
Yeah.
That's my plan. And by my old home, I mean like maybe Mammoth. We'll go ahead and answer the Twitter question.
Not the one in Mojave? Because that's a little bit like being on Mars. Just for anyone who's not been to Mojave.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking.
Or upwards.
Thinking someplace where, you know, during the winter I can just walk out the back and put on my skis and ski up and down the mountain. So yeah.
So Empire or Rebels?
And, you know, I've been called Darth Masten a lot.
I know, but no one actually asked you, Empire or Rebels.
Oh, definitely Rebels, though.
Really? See?
You know, I've got a strong libertarian streak to my my worldview, so you know that you know, fighting against government thing.
Does Dave want to personally land on the moon or just land on Mars?
Oh, yeah. Good question.
Personally land on,
question.
yes, I do personally want to land on the moon.
Will you be first?
Well, obviously I won't
Well,
be
no,
first.
that's not
There's
what
a
I
few-
meant. You know what I meant. You know what I meant.
Well, I mean, I'm not going by myself, so you know, maybe whoever.
Would you
I'm
be on the
with.
first Masten spacecraft to the moon?
Possibly. Possibly. Obviously, it's going to take somebody putting some money into Masten, and they may have some requirements to go with that money that I may have to go. Oh, I don't like that.
Does that usually happen? Like when people pile money in, you're like, oh man, I really need the money, and I really don't want to agree, but I really need the money.
ITAR.
So, as an entrepreneur who's been through more than one industry, that happens all the time. That's it's called negotiation. It's called compromise. It's you sometimes you have to accept some things that you don't necessarily really like, but you don't have to accept the things that you absolutely hate because you can just walk away. But
Right.
there is always that balance. And well, everything in engineering is a trade-off.
Yeah.
And guess what? In finance, it is too. So, yeah. Return of the Jedi live. Yes. Says the guy building spaceships for the feds.
That's funny. I'm drinking Surge.
Do you do any space outreach?
Did I do any space?
Do you go to schools and
outreach?
do anything?
Yeah, actually we do. We've been, so as me personally, not as much as I'd like to, but that's also because the way the company is set up, I've become insulated, and I just sit at my desk and do engineering work, and occasionally come out and I'm allowed to do this.
So
or
what
go
you're
to
saying is
professional
you set the
conferences.
company up that way.
And then I have a CEO and others who can go out and actually do the interact with other people. Truly, I am an introvert.
He is.
Why space? You could have done anything. Or why did you go? I'm going to go to Mars. What spurred that?
Because we need an empire and we need rebels. That is why. Star Wars is why. I want to fly an X-wing.
That needs to be on a shirt. Star Wars is why. And then on the back, I want to fly an X-wing.
I like it. What government does Dave think have to rule the people living on the moon or Mars, or new planet government?
I'm going to throw a question back. First, define government. Second, why government? That's
Third,
all.
define planet. Boom!
Kill us about that. Yeah, define planet. Well, actually, it says moon or Mars.
It
It's a
does.
new planet government, though.
Or a new planet government. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, guess what? We're married.
Edge of space, Kármán line or 80 kilometers.
It's amazing how the chat room does that.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, wow.
I don't know, edge of space, Kármán line, or 80 kilometers. In the popular vernacular, edge of space has become the level at which helium balloons get to. And then a Kármán line or 80 kilometers is something completely different.
That's hilarious. That is true. That is true, and it's super
It's
annoying.
like the super
It's
urban
super
dictionary
annoying.
variation
Of edge of space.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My balloon made it to space. I can see the curvature of Earth. Your balloon made it nowhere near space.
So actually, there's a couple of issues there. Kármán line is a nice point because that is roughly, approximately, that's a nice round number of where it is impossible to create a lifting surface that has more lift over drag, won't fall back down.
Right.
So that is a good definition. I'm going to put something completely different out there, edge of space, probably more like 1,000 kilometers, and that's where the content of the atmosphere changes from that is similar to the surface of the Earth and the solar wind. It's more like the solar wind at that point,
Right.
more like, the really outer space than it is like the Earth's atmosphere. But that's a huge, thick boundary layer that, has a mixture of the two.
So that would be more outer space than edge of space, wouldn't you think? Or are you saying that's the edge and then
So that's the
beyond that?
edge
is
where
the edge.
where
That's
the constituent atoms
I-
that are floating around widely separated are more likely to be those of the sun than of the Earth.
I guess the hard part is that edge is so thick that it's hard to define where it actually.
There's no nice bright line, unfortunately.
Someone should build one. Someone should make a bright neon line in space. Like this is their company's goal, right? Like this is the line you have to cross.
No. Can you just do it like they do on football?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? The line that's superimposed, so when you're watching it on TV,
You can see whether or not they've made the first down. Yeah. There you go.
Yay, sports ball.
Sports ball.
I did full circle.
So Saturn X, not married yet.
I'm sure if Dave ever had a
To
wife,
go to both.
wherever Dave's wife is, she would
You have
probably
to
like to
repeat
go
the
with
questions
Dave.
because people have no idea what they're referring
So
to.
Saturn X wanted to know if Dave's wife would like to venture to the moon or Mars.
By the way, we haven't told you he has a wife.
Awesome. Good to know. So
She's
you've
already
been
on Mars.
lying all this time about proposing to me on top of Mount Goddard. I see how it is now. Yep.
So proposing. So what was the second part of the question?
If I would like to venture to the moon or Mars,
Oh.
and the answer is both.
And you're in the Moon First camp as well.
I'm in the whatever happens.
You don't care. Why do you want to go? Why space? What's it for
To
you?
explore. I love exploring.
Were you always a space geek, or was it kind of a?
Probably middle schoolish it started, and kind of always have been. And then the whole exploring thing started with hiking and backpacking and all that good stuff. So, yeah, I like adventure.
Adventure.
Yes.
Does Dave see the James Webb Telescope as a financial nightmare or just a price that has to be paid for a project so ambitious? Yes.
Yeah.
Funny how we talked
Good
about
answer.
our work last week.
What's the best time and place, or when or where do you have ideas popping up?
What?
What's the best time and place, or
Where do you get your inspiration? When
There
and
you
where?
go.
Don't say on the can.
Actually, very, very little on the can. I'm not the kind that goes in and reads a book while I'm sitting. I'm in there and out of there, just get things done. I got more important things to do.
I did mean that as a joke, and not that I needed information on how.
I was just saying, yeah,
So no, where do you get your inspiration? Where do you pull inspiration from? My example, we pull it from Disney parks, right?
I haven't. It's been a long time since I've read a good fiction book. But when I was younger, I would read tons of science fiction. So everything from Asimov, Heinlein, all the greats from back then. Guys were popular when I was young. God, I feel old now. I gotta get busy.
drops.
They brought back Dave
pretty
drops.
They brought back Dave drops. Yeah, that's what we were talking about just a
So
minute
for
ago.
for those who missed the pre-show, because that wasn't recorded, I mean it was recorded, but you don't get to see it anywhere. Had to be live. It was awesome because we've got the chat room on the tablets, and Dave would just answer because we don't have to repeat it because it's not being archived. So he would just randomly say like 42, moon. I don't know, on my back somewhere. And that's all you would get. That's all you heard. And he was answering the questions. And so the concept is, I think they make a great YouTube show where Dave just reads answers for like a minute or two each week, but you only get the answers. You don't get you get no reference to the question whatsoever.
Destructor 1701 asks, Tiff, I assume that's you. You had some back issues, if I recall correctly. How are you doing? Well, I hope.
So doing pretty good. Let's see. Yes, I did break my back. It'll be 2 years next month. This past summer I did more backpacking than I've ever done, even before I broke my back.
That's good.
And I know I was counting. And I'm like, wait, I've actually gone on more backpacking trips this summer than any previous summer before the whole incident.
Nice.
And then recently, as of December, I started downhill skiing again with the group called Disabled Sports Eastern Sierra, and they focus on, they work with people that have, a bunch of different disabilities, from cognitive to physical to, in my case, spinal cord issues. But then they also do wounded warriors type stuff and everything. But they've been really great, really helpful with getting me back to skiing again, having so much fun being back to skiing. So doing pretty well. Back seems to be super happy after skiing. I don't get it, but I'm not going to complain.
60-second version. How did you break your back?
I fell off a ski lift that was icy and that wasn't being cleaned off, and landed flat on basically icy snow. Burst my L1. One of the fragments actually bruised my spinal cord. So I have a prosthetic L1 vertebrae. I'm fused from T12 to L2, and I had to learn to walk again. Boom.
So when the robots take over, are you considered human or robot? Like, will you align with the robots or the humans? How's that going to work?
I haven't decided yet.
All right.
When the implant activates, though?
Oh, when the implant activates. Yeah.
Then we'll know for
You
sure.
hear that music? You hear the music through the walls?
Yes.
All around the watchtower. I think that
What
was
is the question for the answer 42? What is the answer to life, the universe, and everything? So technically, the answer up there about everything was right.
L1 is my L1 vertebrae. So about
that a Lagrange point?
It
there
is
in my
also
back.
Lagrange point, yes.
You broke the Lagrange point?
I did. I broke. Yes.
Yeah. We all made that same jump. Yep. Mm-hmm. But it feels fine. It doesn't hurt anymore. There's no
It's
phantom pain or.
It has weird moments of kind of flaring up. It was funny because there's some, when we did a backpacking trip to Doozy Basin, at night it would get really, really stiff and painful, but I'd wake up in the morning and be fine. And then with skiing, it was fine. The first weekend, even with falling, we did a little mini tame, basically flat ski tour, and that kind of no, it wasn't that at the bottom of my back, it was hiking and snow at the bottom of my back. But every time I've been on the skis, it's strangely been calm.
So your natural state is on skis? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
I will take it because I have a lot of fun on skis. Even with looks of occasional panic. Which is kind of hilarious, actually. I'm sure, I'll straight line it down that hill. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Any other good questions?
Sure. No? I don't know.
Are we winding down? What time is it?
Why would any entity that could put a person on Mars help some other entity do it first instead of going down in history themselves? Well, it's not clear that either entity could do it by themselves. That is why.
Right now, I'm not sure there is any single entity on the planet that can do it by themselves. Every entity would need the help of some other entity.
Yep.
In or most likely entities, plural.
As a libertarian, do you see the U.S. manned moon missions as a socialist endeavor? Our German rocket scientists are better than their German rocket scientists. And I'm not actually as a libertarian. I don't identify as a libertarian. I just have that. I do have a definite libertarian tendency.
Seems like that's a streak in Mojave.
There's a lot of that in Mojave. Yes.
Which is, Mojave's that part's in California, like, I mean, like the most governed state in the union with the most amount of how can we restrict and tax you more.
And yet at the same time, I mean, a lot of people think like, Texas is far more libertarian or whatever. No, it's far more conservative, and that has nothing to do with libertarian.
I'm just taking it from ignoring the.
It's
purely a less government, less restrictions kind of thing. Right?
Well, the thing is it's different, and so a lot of people in, say, Midwestern states can look at it and say, look at all those crazy, insane rules that California has. How terrible that must be.
That's how I felt when I moved here from a Midwestern state. I'm like, what? You have to put a sign up that says this building may cause cancer?
Which is on every single building.
Which is on every building in California.
Yes.
Because, by
Prop
the way,
65 is
everything
crazy.
can give you cancer. And I saw that and I'm like, what the what?
If you put the sign up, you're not liable for the stuff you have.
Oh my God. Anyhow, I'm sorry. Yeah. So
anyway, yeah, there's tons of stuff that you can be said about that, but the fact of the matter is it's just different. It's Midwestern states aren't laws that are enforced by governments as much as they have their own sort of stifling on things, but it's actually, behavioral and...
The Midwest glare?
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah, there are other social restrictions that California doesn't have. And there's tons of other things that... Quite frankly, California offers a lot more stuff that other states don't, and therefore you can charge more. In a way.
Even outside of that, having moved from the Midwest over to California, there's a cultural difference here that's more of a we can do anything we put our mind to mentality that exists only here. And I do not know why. I mean, I'm using broad strokes, of course. I don't know what it is about California, but there's just this of course we can build rockets that go to the, of course we can do that, and I don't care if they've done it before, NASA's over there. Obviously we can do this and we could do better, cheaper and faster. Let's go make a rocket company. And that seems to exist here and nowhere else.
There's a lot to be said for that, yes. I moved to California originally for all the software startups.
Silicon Valley area?
I came out to Silicon Valley. When I first came out to California, I spent 1 year living in San Francisco, working south of Market, which is tons of little software startups. Moved down to San Jose, worked for a startup in San Jose, and actually, started Masten Space Systems from the money I got selling stocks from companies I was working for. So yeah. There's definitely a little bit more of that attitude of we can do stuff that just doesn't exist in other places.
If you were remaking Masten Systems right now, you're alone. You have no team behind you to worry about. Would you still do it here, or would you do it somewhere else, like Florida, Texas?
No, I think I would still do it in California.
All right. Because once you have a team, it's much harder, right? Because now you can't really uproot. I mean, you can try, but you can't.
Well, we did. We actually we took our first team. We started off. We spent 2 years in the San Jose area in Silicon Valley.
How many people did you have?
And then we moved down here. At that time, we had 5 people.
You did all 5 move?
And everybody moved, yeah.
So, but a smaller team is easier.
But the smaller team is very much easier.
Well, as you grow to 20, 40, 100 people, we'll say I'll call it 100. At 100 people, you're losing. You're going to lose
some. Yeah, definitely.
And that's hard, especially if it's great talent. right? I mean, that's the hardest thing anyhow.
He's not
Absolutely.
allowed to move anyways.
But if we were to do it all over again, yes, we'd start and we'd be in Mojave probably, most likely. But somewhere, definitely in California. California is wonderful.
I don't totally understand that. I mean, I do. I get it from a rocket standpoint, but we went to Mojave to see your stuff, and it was really windy that day. And I thought to myself, I could never live here.
I don't live in Mojave, by the way.
Oh, how far away are you?
It's a 30-minute drive.
Okay, that's about what we are from work. There was just nothing. Which again, I totally get for rockets, but I looked around and I'm like, this is terrible.
Just understand, Mojave is not the middle of nowhere, but we can definitely see it from where we are.
It's darn close.
And we also spent every weekend in the mountains, so it's like we're never really there.
Someone wants to know if you play Kerbal Space Program.
I do not.
Have you won it?
Most of my engineers do.
Someone else wanted to know if you go to Burning Man.
Nope.
Nope.
Wow, you were like on that, like no. Is there a reason? Is there an
Because we spend that week in the backcountry, and people. We try to...
Burning Man requires a certain personality that we definitely don't have.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Even me with lots
Although
of
so many
beer
of my
could
best
not
friends
handle
do
it.
go to Burning Man.
Liquid engine.
Some of my best friends go to.
No comment.
Solid motors or liquid engines?
Liquids.
Why?
Liquids are the only thing that makes sense for humans.
Because you can't shut off the solid?
Well, you can shut off a solid, but to do so is very dangerous for the humans.
How do you shut off a solid other than disintegrating it?
Well, that's essentially it. You open up the core of the engine.
You've got the all right. Let's
Usually
add,
with
what about
usually with
hybrids?
that cord.
What about hybrids?
Hybrids, you get the worst of both worlds.
All right. So liquids.
That is the definition of hybrid all the way around, isn't it?
It usually is, yes.
Usually, not always. It doesn't have to be.
I feel like no matter what kind of hybrid you have,
well, all right, but
It's very difficult to take two things and get the best out of both of them.
yeah.
what about something like shuttle, where you had now ignoring that it was a side-mounted vehicle? Let's pretend it's a top-mounted vehicle. You've got liquids and solids there, so you could eject the solids and still have. In an emergency catastrophe.
Well, let's
again,
take,
not in the side.
Let's take the shuttle called Challenger.
No, side-mounted design and top-mounted design would have been very different.
Yeah.
Would it have?
I don't know. I assume so. It's depressing to play out that scenario, but because it was a side-mounted design, there was no abort scenario. If they had been a top-mounted design, in theory, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, if there's a rapid unscheduled disassembly of the solids, you can eject from that and hopefully get away from it.
Maybe not.
Okay.
I'm not. It's not clear to me that that's the case. Without spending a lot of time doing a bunch of.
What if you put a
engineering.
capsule on top instead with an abort system?
Sure, keep adding systems that you may not need.
Don't all capsules have abort system?
Well, yeah, but are they truly needed? Or is it some requirement that somebody came up with? And...
Well, then we'll look at Dragon V2 with propulsive landing, where it's always needed.
And it doesn't have the tractor style system.
Which,
either.
by the way, is also a very ingenious way of looking at something that was required and then turning it into okay, well, we're going to always use that requirement now.
Yeah, that's.
My opinions are my own, and not that of blah 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 blah.
He plays rockets for real. Well, I play the game. Okay, yeah. This was zombie in the Mojave winter.
Have you seen the? I think it's an XKCD of the knowledge of rocket scientist knowledge or understanding of orbital mechanics. Have you seen that one?
Understanding of orbital mechanics. He has that little. Up and down
started working at
and up.
NASA. Started playing KSP.
Yes.
High tar the motion picture. It'd just be it'd be like black a black screen and say ITAR redacted for like 58 minutes and then 1 minute of something that you really don't care about. Kind of like this show.
Besides money, what's the most influential thing government can do to encourage commercial space exploration?
Get out of the way.
There's some of the get out of the way, but how do you get out of the way? the regulatory environment is very critical, and both positively and negatively. I hate saying it, but yes, you do need regulations.
But if they can move quickly,
It's again, we go back to the bug and the feature that government, the United States government is particularly set up to not be able to move quickly, and it is both a bug and a feature.
sure. But there's when you've got a new industry like this, because at the end of the day, this is a new industry, the new space industry at least. Don't you kind of want the government to kind of do both, right? So at first, it needs to move very rapidly with the industry, and then start to slow down as the industry actually.
Yes,
kind of
but
takes hold.
you also, I mean, so it's kind of funny because we've been being at the helm of a space company. We've been very active in some of the politics and trying to make sure that the politicians don't do stupid things and the
You're
bureaucrats
funny.
don't do
You're
stupid
funny.
things. We try very hard.
Have you any success?
Unfortunately, there is another set of companies that think that what we think is smart, they think is stupid, and what's smart, what's stupid, all that.
Maybe someday they'll
We've
form an
actually
alliance of
had some
sorts.
success, and we've actually been, no, guys, really seriously, don't do anything right now, and trying to slow them down. At the same time, we're saying we need this regulation, and this regulation. Let's do it now. Can't you get it done yesterday? So there's some back and forth on that. And the specific examples, there's actually legislation that we go through every few years about whether space flight participants are actually regulated.
So I want to go. I'm on a Virgin Galactic flight, for example, right? Because I'm a space flight participant now. How would I be regulated?
Well, right now you're not at all.
So
There's
no safety regulation whatsoever.
Only thing that Virgin Galactic has to do is sit you down, give you a small amount of training, which basically says, here's your odds of survival,
Right.
and inform you about everything they can possibly think of. It's called informed consent. And once you sign the paper and agree that you've actually listened to them, and you can demonstrate that you listened to them and that you are informed and you consent, there is no regulation after that.
But maybe at this stage that's okay. That's probably not okay when we start going to
Well,
massive amounts of travel like an airline. But
So the industry's argument, and by industry I mean X-Corp, Virgin Galactic, Masten,
Sure.
All the members of the Commercial Spaceflight Federation.
that just sounds badass, by the way. Yep.
Our thing that we've been telling Congress is we don't know enough to actually do regulation of a lot of what we're doing. We just don't know it yet. We don't know what's going to be effective, what's not effective. We're in that phase where some of us got some really crazy ideas and they might just work and they might actually be safer. But if we start regulating now, we'll never find out.
Right.
That's kind of what happened with the airline industry too, isn't it? I mean, they didn't go in like in 9 billion regulations that they have now, but
One can say that sitting out on the tarmac, unless you really know your airplanes, it's really hard to tell the difference between a 767 and a 777.
I don't know that I could, but I don't think I could.
can't.
I don't think I could.
I don't think I
I
can.
don't think. Yeah.
If someone would point out the detailed differences, maybe I could, and maybe you set them,
Right.
one's one and the other's the other, and you set them right next to each other, maybe
I
you can figure
can
out
point
the
out the
difference.
differences between Columbia and Atlantis, though.
You know which things we're nerds in.
Yes, I do. All right, moving on.
Tips for building tiny, active, guided hobby rockets with liquid fuel.
With liquid fuel.
That's what it says. Well, technically, it doesn't say with liquid fuel. It says bracket liquid fuel, bracket question mark. But I imagine that was
Right.
some
Well,
sort
because
of
anyone
insinuation
can
of
drop a solid motor in there, but the
with.
liquid stuff, right? Like
Actively guided hobby rockets are illegal.
They're not illegal.
Hobby?
That is correct.
Active,
Anything under FAR 101?
actively guided hobby rockets.
No, it's not illegal. You just have to get the right permission. Underfire 101. I know we're Underfire 101. Masten Space Systems is Underfire 101. That's how that's how we've got our permission to fly.
So if someone wanted to do just a little hobby thing and play around, maybe someday get hired by Masten.
Now, actively guided may be illegal in, well, quote unquote illegal, maybe against the rules of the various hobby rocket organizations.
That's correct.
Tripoli, for example, or
NAR.
NAR, yeah.
National Association of Rocketry.
But that's not actually illegal.
But that has nothing to do with the laws. That just means that you're not going to do it at their launches, at their events.
Well, whoop-de-doo. So I could just travel out to I could travel out to Masten. We're renaming Mojave to Masten. You're welcome. Travel out to Mojave and do whatever I want to do, right? As long as
or the Black Rock Desert.
Sure. Pick a place that's,
Pick a place that's pretty dang empty, yeah.
I hear Spaceport America is up for sale.
Yeah, I know. I was both surprised by that and not at all.
Sure, but flying into the airspace there, that's white sands.
Yeah.
That might be more difficult.
But that might be where someone wants to buy that, because isn't there an agreement between Spaceport America and White Sands,
yes.
where you've got like this kind of free open airspace to work in?
Yes and no. I wouldn't call it free and open. It's
much easier to work with than, say, the FAA.
You may schedule it. It's not easier to work with than the FAA.
Oh, well then maybe
it is
matter.
a military range. And you have to work with the FAA anyway. So.
Oh, so you have to. It's maybe worse.
So it may be worse.
But you're not going to have any commercial jetliners going on.
You're not going to have the commercial airliners, because there is actually a wide range of military restricted airspace there that is usable by the spaceport or anybody using the spaceport. So no tips. Yeah,
I just figured you were very nonchalantly going around and just choosing not to answer the question.
Small rockets are really, really difficult. Use solids. You can do some pretty amazing things with guidance and solids. So it might just be a lot easier.
Your tip is don't do it.
What do you want to do? Do you want to do guidance, or do you want to do liquids? If you want to hire a team, or you have a team of really dedicated individuals, then go ahead and make it a little bit larger, because doing small things with liquids is actually very difficult.
Does that have to be a team, or can it just be one crazy person that's really, really dedicated, Dave?
One crazy person that's really, really dedicated will spend his life doing it. If you want to get something done, if you're going to do liquids, because you're going to have to become a propulsion engineer, and you have to become a controls engineer.
Is it fun?
Hell yeah.
All right.
What was the first in-person launch you saw? Large rockets.
First in-person launch, large rockets. Define large rockets. Define.
Define launch.
Really?
In-person large rockets. Wow.
Shuttle?
Shuttle, yeah. Definitely shuttle.
And that late in the program, 132?
Yeah, and pretty late in the program, yeah. I did not see shuttle until very late in the program.
But now, what about a Delta Atlas?
Oh, I was at 131, so it would have been 131, yeah.
But no Deltas, no Atlas?
No Deltas, no Atlases, no. And I say define, I asked for the define large rockets because I was at the first CSXT attempt at getting to space. And I was also at Paragon, not Paragon Labs, the other Paragon, who was also doing a launch attempt out of Black Rock Desert. And both of those were, not large like an Atlas V, but definitely not hobby rockets by any stretch of the imagination.
Like Falcon 1 kind of?
Smaller than Falcon 1 even. But,
Falcon 0.5?
They were... we're talking 20-foot longish. Yay big around. They're as big as a modern sounding rocket. They were actually sounding rockets in so many ways. Saw a couple of those. So
You ever do that demo fight from Space Launch Complex 36?
did you ever do that demo? No, we did not do that demo flight from Slick 36. Yeah, we had an agreement to do one. We were supposed to do one. We spent a lot of time working with the Air Force, and that was painful. Hopefully we'll get back to it at some point, but right now we're not too active on it.
Guys, I think we're starting to wind down. So a couple more questions, and then we're going to call it a show. Anything that you guys wanted to talk about that didn't get to talk about?
Anything space, I'm happy with. You have anything?
You did promise a mug thing.
Oh, the mug! I forgot to show
I
the
don't
mug.
know
Oh.
why you decided to promise it on air in the regular show.
Because it's cool.
Because that's how he rolls. That's how he rolls, I guess.
I do that a lot. Like I will have a thing I want to do, and then we'll get wrapped up with Dave being awesome, and then I'll be like, okay, we're done. And everyone else is like, thing you said you were gonna do.
Yeah.
So, we get our inspiration from Disney parks. I enjoy going down, not Disney as a general, I don't care about the mouse or any of the characters at all, or the movies. But I enjoy going into like Tomorrowland and getting immersed in these worlds and just kind of detaching from reality. It's just a good creative outlet for me. And so my favorite land is the experimental prototype community of tomorrow, Epcot. My real favorite land is the actual Epcot that never got built, but that's neither here nor there. And in Epcot, or part of the Epcot system, is monorail. And a while ago, Disney had an accident between monorail pink and monorail purple. So those colors are now forbidden. You don't have monorail pink or purple pins anymore. They used to make them. They don't anymore. You don't have any of the monorails that they sell, like the die-cast monorails, all of the little monorails that go around your tree. They pulled all the pink and purples. They don't exist anymore. They don't make them. And like I said, the color is forbidden. When we were down there for our birthday/anniversary trip, one of the days we were there, I think that Friday,
Thursday or Friday, something like that. Yeah.
Was the first day that the Starbucks
has
released
this program called
You Are Here. And they've got Starbucks in the parks, and you have to physically go to the Starbucks in the Magic Kingdom or Epcot. And so if you go to the Starbucks in the Magic Kingdom, you can buy Magic Kingdom mugs. You can't buy anything from any of the other ones. You have to physically go to that exact Starbucks. So we went, we actually spent time, because we're nerds, we're like, this is awesome, we like coffee, we like that. So we went to all the Starbucks, all two of them, that were open, and we got the Epcot mug and the Disney World mug. And so we did, in fact, pick up this mug from Epcot, and I'm gonna bring it much closer to the camera. Let's see here. I'll do it on this camera, if that's all right. There you go. All right, so you can see it's got this great color scheme. Let me hit focus. There you go. All right, great color scheme. You can see the red light.
Show the inside.
All right, the inside's got that kind of cool purple. Sorry, we're kind of out of the light. You'll notice that the color scheme is purple and blue, which meant that they made monorail purple. And again, that's a no-no. So it turns out that they realized their mistake, and they have pulled all of these mugs. You cannot buy these anymore, and these are going for about $400 on eBay right now because they were only out for a very short amount of time. We spent $20, $15, $15 on this mug.
$14.95.
We won't sell them because I do enjoy them. I do actually like the way they look, and I think it's a nice mug. I wonder if I can I? Knowing our luck, this will be hand wash only. Lots of, Oh, it's microwave and dishwasher safe.
Yeah.
Huzzah. So there you go. That's our fun illegal mug. Oh wow, that camera's super out of focus now. That's really
Wow.
Cool. It's almost like we're underwater. Like, whoa. So yeah, that's my fun story with a mug. You can't buy them anymore. We have 2 of them, and that's it.
Cool story, bro.
It was a cool story. Was it? All right, did the internet hate the story? I thought it was an awesome story.
Did I see Interstellar or Gravity movies? Did he like them? I saw Interstellar. I did not like it.
Why? What's wrong with you?
And the reason I didn't like it is because there were so many self-contradictory things in the movie that I kept getting jarred out of the movie.
Like what?
I don't recall anymore. I just remember constantly coming back. I get into a movie, I start watching it, and I'm seeing the movie, and the rest of the theater disappears.
Sure.
If I notice the rest of the theater, that means you just did something majorly wrong on the movie. So therefore, yeah, I kept coming back to the theater.
Did you see Gravity?
I have not seen Gravity.
That's a good one.
Terrible.
Although,
Actually,
there are scenes that will drive you bonkers in Gravity.
The reason I did not see Gravity was because the trailer was showing an astronaut going crazy, losing her cool, and I just thought that was not cool. That was the entire trailer, remember?
And we only see like one movie each year, so.
Well, and then throw on top of that, we only see one movie each year, so.
Why see a movie when you can go skiing?
Exactly.
I understand. All right, I think that's it. Unless there's any other great questions in there. No. Okay. Good. So thank you everyone so much for joining. I hope you guys had a great week. Like I said, next week show,
You
whatever.
have to stop doing that.
Doing what?
Hitting the back of the chair. It's extremely jarring.
Yeah, I'm removing you from the movie.
Thanks.
I hope you guys had a great show, and we will see you next week with Leo Camacho.
Yes, there's an O with the end.
I keep forgetting the name. Leo Camacho from the X Prize Foundation. So see you guys in a week.